Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race.
Audio
I
Jungle.
sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. Take a look.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and welcome to WSBI Your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. As I said before, my name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Tyeasia Kiah, founder and owner of Designer at Fierce Creations.
Hi,
Hey, how are you, Tyeasia?
I
Welcome.
am great.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that we finally got the opportunity to get this together and do this interview. So I'm real excited about hearing about your organization and what you've been doing. So if you just want to take a few minutes and tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, of course, my name is Tyeasia. I am a native of little old Tarboro, North Carolina. I am the mother of one daughter. She's 7. I am the author of 2 books and a business owner of 2 businesses, of course, Fierce Creations, and a mentor program called Fearless Girls Incorporated here in Tarboro. And then when I'm not doing all that, I have a actual job where I am a drug abuse counselor during the day. So,
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, you gave us a lot of information in just a short period of time. So what we're going to do is I always like to backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit about your personal side of you and where you actually were born and raised and how you decided to get into the business and how you got inspired to get into the business as well. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
well, as I said, I'm from a very small town where they do typically the same things everybody is doing. They're either making shirts or making desserts and things like that. So I've always been into crafting and making things and trying different things such as jewelry or cufflinks and things like that. And I always look into DIY projects so that I can try things on my own and inspire myself. But one person in particular that really inspired me, and she recently passed away, was my aunt, she was actually the first person to ever order any of my jewelry designs before I even started my business. And she was my inspiration to actually making a business. So I went ahead and did the whole process of making it an actual business. But I just love creating things and making people feel like they're unique and they don't have to look like everybody else.
Okay, and that's pretty cool. So basically, you design a lot of different jewelry pieces and items that women can wear. So you're saying that each of the items that you fit, you don't make more than just 1 or 2, or so basically they're just unique for that individual that when you're designing, or do you?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll get a piece and I'll have it as a display for people to see, and then I'll let people come and chime in on, well, what will make it unique for you, and then I'll create a different piece for them, and it'll just be for them. And I also do men jewelry, so I'll do men bracelets and the cufflinks that are either sports related or just initial cufflinks.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I like the idea that it's, unique and specific for the individual versus, like you said, kind of buying it off the shelf and everybody has the same pieces to wear. And nothing wrong with that, but you never know who you get to run into and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen those earrings before. It's because you got the same things on. So that's pretty neat. So tell me, a little bit more about the other businesses that you have. Now, you talked about you have 2 books. Talk to me about your books.
The first book that I published was called The Battle Is Not Yours, A Fight to a Better Life. And that's an inspirational spiritual book where I tell my life stories of things that I've been through in the past, and probably some of the things I'm still dealing with and going through, but I allow God to now lead me in the right direction versus trying to do it on my own or handle situations on my own. Mm-hmm. So it's just giving people guidance about what faith is, how faith can bring you out, and how each situation that you may be dealing with, there's a story in the Bible that can help you and guide you into the right direction.
Okay.
And
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My second book is called Say It Loud, The Truth Hurts, but it's a soul saver. And it's kind of a comedy book, I should say, because it's on different stories of how it relates to like side chicks and marriage and school systems and how, good children versus bad children, how the society views them, things of that nature. So it's different topics about things that people just always are either talking about it behind closed doors and they're not being upfront with the people that they need to be upfront with about it, being honest about a lot of situations that truthfully need to come out to the world about.
It's those conversations that either we're having with ourselves or those conversations you're having with your girlfriends or just somebody close that, like you said, that people really talk about every day, but they don't want to bring it out because they're concerned about what somebody else is going to say about them or, or that's not right. That's not how we do things. But at the end of the day, I think a big part of our biggest problem in our society is that we have to conform and we shouldn't have to conform. And that's what the expectation is for everything. And, whether we agree with it or not, if that's the lifestyle that person wants to live or do the things they want to do, we really don't have any say over it. But like I said, the society we live in today, and it seems to be getting worse instead of getting better. There's still that constant conformity, and I think my biggest gripe has always been about schooling, where I think it's very important for people to go to school, and definitely, we want our children to learn and so forth. But I think having the basics is important, but at the same token, we should be able to think for ourselves and be able to know that it's okay if you don't use the same directions in order to get the same answer, but you're getting the answer. You're understanding it. And, so my big thing is always complaining about conformity. So
exactly. That's exactly
right. So I think it's really cool to hear about, hear you writing a book, talking about those things that we hide behind, the door, so to speak, about and don't really want other people to hear. And then when you do talk about it up front, you say you always have somebody who's willing to criticize you because you're not conforming to what the idealistic ideologies of the world today. So congratulations on your books. Where can people purchase your books from?
They are on Amazon, and I will directly send books to people through my PayPal link so that they can get an autographed copy, because Amazon will just give you a book and it won't have a signature or anything in it. So I feel like it's special. So if they get it from me personally, they will get an autographed copy, and that's through, like I said, my PayPal link, which I call Faith Follower for my books.
Okay. All right. And we'll talk a little bit more about how they can get a hold of you later on in the show. So talk to me about your motivational speaking. I did, do a little research on you. So you are also a motivational speaker, I see. So tell me, a little bit about that part of you.
So when I did my first book, I was getting a whole lot of guest engagement speakings to come out and do speakings on a variety of topics, whether it's bullying, depression, rape, self-esteem, and things of that nature. And before I even wrote my book, I was going to churches and boys and girls clubs, and I was speaking on faith and bullying and all those topics before, but it just made it more accessible when I wrote my book to be able to tell my story in a different aspect when I did my speaking engagements. So I do the same topics because I don't want to do a topic that I don't have any background on, or I don't have history on, because that defeats the purpose of telling your story.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And that's very important. I mean, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people come into business, because we're talking about our experiences. We're sharing our knowledge that we feel that can help another individual, and of course we also feel as business people that we can do it better than the next person. But it's very important that I like what you're talking about, the fact that, when you're motivating people, motivating yourself, you're talking about your experiences and sharing that this is what I've gone through, this is what you don't have to go through aspect. And I think that's always a part of everybody's story who's in business. It's just learning how to bring it out in a way where it's convenient for people, as well as, like it says, that constant healing process within yourself when you have certain experiences in your life that you're sharing. So when you decided to do, I'm kind of focusing right now just on the book side and the motivational speaking side. How long have you actually been doing this piece of it, of your business?
I have only been speaking for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely, out there trying to get myself more out there so that I can do more speakings. I at least want to do 1 or 2 a month, just to be able to spread my word and go all over the world and help 1 or 2 people. If I don't help everybody, at least I can help 1 or 2 people know that their battle is not theirs to fight, and they can continue to go on and live a better life than they were before. So I definitely want to do more with my motivational speaking.
Okay, well, that sounds like something that you definitely want to hear more. I would like to hear more about and see more of. Like I said, I've been, paying attention to you, and talk to me more about your newer business. I believe is what is it called? The Fierce Girls.
Fearless Girls.
Fearless Girls. Yeah, I've been noticing that you've been bring more of that information out, and talk more about that business. What is that about?
So that's a mentoring program here in Tarboro, North Carolina, for young girls between the ages of 5 and 12. And it's just to inspire them and motivate them to be leaders and not followers, to know that bullying is not okay, that they have to increase their self-esteem within themselves first before anybody else can do it. They must love themselves first. And it's just to empower them to be greater than, they were or what they were told, because a lot of times you'll have, it's a lot of bullying going on here in Tarboro. And I want to encourage them that they don't have to be in the crowd and do the same thing that everybody else is doing, or they don't have to listen to what people are saying about them, because that's not true. And if you have that in yourself to know who you are and what you're about, then what others say won't hurt you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it seems like today the bullying is top-notch rage. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I'm sure, well, obviously we know bullying has probably been around for many, many years, but it seems like today with people being able to hide behind the social media aspect, there's so much more of it going on. And it's a shame that, you're hearing more and more these young girls and as well as young boys, who are committing suicide over bullying. And, as women, period, and even as young women, we're constantly being told how we're supposed to look, what we're supposed to say, what we're supposed to wear. If you're not identified in a certain way, then you don't fit in. And you're absolutely right that, loving yourself is the most important aspect. And, as a young woman, that everything that you're teaching them is going to go with them as they become adults. And, sometimes they don't have that person at home who can give them that strength that they need, because they're trying to deal with their own strength day in and day out. So it's beautiful that you have a program that's made available for these young ladies so that they can sit down and talk about what they go through day in and day out, but also understand that, they having the power to be able to empower themselves makes them more worthy to understand their value in life. So I applaud you on having that new program available for those young ladies in your community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I just think it's important, that, I think that as young ladies, that it's important that they understand that this is how life is, and this is what keeps their strength and starts them out for their future, is that seeing women helping each other, I think, is really important. And, I don't think that sometimes there's not enough of that seen or heard on a day-to-day basis. We're hearing so much more of the negative. It's always great to see something positive going on within or outside of the community. It's just that, like I said, we don't see it as often as we should. You know, you hear about it sometimes behind the scenes, but you know, it would be great if there was a program available or a TV program where all you ever see is just great things happening, you know, throughout our communities and throughout the world, because we see so much negativity. So it's always good to hear about good programs. So with all these different businesses that you have, you know, between the being an author, the motivational speaker, you know, having the mentoring program, and then designing your Fierce Creations designs, talk about some of the challenges that you face being a business owner.
A lot. Basically, time management it can kind of become a struggle because you're doing so many things, and you have to realize that you have to set out time for yourself, or you have to set up time for your family, and you're so busy being out in the community, or you're so busy trying to, you know, please the world that you forget to please your own household. So it's time management, being able to just juggle everything and remember that, you know, without your family, you wouldn't probably have anything anyway. So you need to put them first, and your health first too, because you can stress yourself out to the point where you are damaging your health. So, I've been through all that. So it's just, you know, learning to juggle things and having efficient time in all aspects of what I'm doing. And especially with, the jewelry business, is being able to just understand the needs of my clients and, you know, future clients, of what they're looking for and what they need, and not necessarily, you know, other things that they see, but what will be beneficial for them, and what can I, you know, make for them that's going to stand out. So.
Right. And you're right. I think that, you know, talking about the two aspects you were speaking about on the time management piece, and then ensuring that, you know, you have exactly what the clientele that are coming to you, you know, that you have what they need, is very important. But, you know, the first part of what you're talking about, the time management piece, if you don't have things in order for yourself, it makes it very hard to deal and handle with everybody else's, you know, concerns and problems that you're there to inspire them every day. So you always have to sit back and think about who's inspiring me, you know, how is everybody helping me get through this other process? But because I'm sure, you know, because you love what you do every day, you know, having to have those pieces in place are very important. And, you know, and that's like I said, we talked a little bit earlier, that the fact about being in business, the reason why you're in business is because you feel you can always do something better than the next person. But at the same token, you know that you're there to help. And, you know, have that other piece that you were just talking about to ensure that these things are available for your clientele. It's always a very, very important piece, because customer service is a huge gripe that I have, that I think that's very lost in our society today. Even when you have the new business owners, or any of the business owners out there, there's still sometimes that lack of good customer service. And good customer service is not just about, you know, selling the product and making them happy. It's a much broader picture for me. I think it's something that needs to be dealt with from the time that you know, start the business and you meet the clientele all the way through the process, you know, all the way to the end. And that's what continues to bring people back, is because of the customer service that you provide to them, ensuring, you know, that, hey, that everything you do is never going to change. This is who you are. So I think that's always a better part of being a business owner, is that you be able to show individuals the things that you didn't like, you get to make better.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple other questions. With all the great things that you're doing, if you had to pick one of your greatest success stories, what would that be?
I will probably go with my mentoring. I think that was one of the greatest things that God could have given me, was to reach out to young girls and be able to instill in them the knowledge that they need for when they become adults. Because if it doesn't start when they're young, then they're going to grow up questioning a whole lot of things that they could have learned a long time ago. So I think is my greatest success, is being able to reach young girls and allow them to become successful women.
Okay, and that's important. That's very important. Yeah, and like you said, it's the experience that you have in life is what allows you to be able to mentor those young ladies, so that people need to understand that they don't have to go through things by themselves or go through anything if they have the knowledge up front. And that's the better part. At least they'll know how to handle it. So yeah, it's unfortunate sometimes that we have to go through certain experiences, whether they're negative or positive, but at least we can share those with other individuals so that like I said, they don't have to go through those things without having some understanding of how to handle it. So if there's another woman who decides that they want to get into any type of business, what would you share with them as far as resources, or how would what advice would you give them?
To do your research first. Don't jump head in and try to open a business without any knowledge of anything. Talk to someone who already has a familiar business such as yours that you're wanting to open, and get some insight on, what made them start, how did they get to where they are, what's the process, different things like that, because it's always good to talk to someone who's already been in your shoes and had the headache or the crying nights where they just wanted to give up and they didn't, because this was a dream or a vision that was given to them and they needed to apply it somewhere. So do your research, read, and talk to some people that already did it.
Right.
That's my top.
I
if
agree
didn't
with
do
you.
it, I probably would have been messed up. I probably would not be, and I'm not as successful as I want to be yet. And I say yet because I will get there. But without the people who have already, did these visions and goals, I will be nothing. To be honest. So.
Well, and that's the whole key about being in business. There's not one person who's been in business that can say that, oh, I did it all on my own. I didn't need this individual. I didn't need anybody to tell me what to do. If they did say that, I would never believe it. A part of being successful is reaching out and sharing your resources, helping the next person do what they want to do as their dream, and make that dream into a reality. The bottom line is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And people have probably heard me say that 100 times, because that is the whole purpose. There's enough out here that you shouldn't have to feel like, oh, I can't go talk to somebody, or there's nobody who's going to help me. Unfortunately, there are some people who will have that attitude, but at the same token, there is enough information out here and plenty of room and plenty of money to be made for everybody, because those resources are there. And like you said, why would you have to sit up there and learn it the hard way when you can learn it the easy way? Because somebody else has already gone through what you shouldn't have to go through. If you are willing to sit down and listen and learn from your mentors and from those who already been in business. And even sometimes people who haven't been in business, they may still have some really great advice, because we're not an expert in everything that we do. We're only an expert in the specific piece of the business that we're actually running.
Exactly.
So it's always really important to have that capability to sit back and think and realize and to be appreciative of those who are willing to help you. And really, I call that business to business mentoring, because that's really what it is. When you get to a point where you can be with another business that's either similar to yours or has some of the same ideas that can help you understand what it takes to run a business, it's always good to have that connection. And that's really what the Women's Small Business Initiative is about, is that we're here to share resources. And that's the part of the reason why I love doing the podcast program. And that's the reason why I do the podcast, is because every single one of you ladies that I interview, you guys are all sharing your stories. You're giving people the insights that they need to understand of what it takes to be a business owner, and realize that it all comes with the good and the bad, so to speak. But it doesn't mean that you give up. It just tells you this is what it takes in order to be in business. And you're going to have those challenges you're facing. But at the end of the day, there's always that pot of gold, down at the end of that rainbow that we're all striving for, and you're striving for day in and day out. So, I definitely appreciate everything that you're doing, and I'm glad that we have had this opportunity to chat for a few minutes. So also tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you.
So you can definitely reach me several ways. Of course, I am on Facebook, like majority of people besides my mama. My Facebook name is Tyeasia Kiah, but I have a business page called Faith Follower that you can reach me and watch past motivational speaking videos, engagements, encouraging words. I have a PayPal link called paypal.me/faithfollowertk where you can order my books. I have a business page, fiercecreationsbyty.com, where you can order any type of jewelry or cufflinks that you would like, or bracelets, whatever the piece is that you want. Go look on the page and see what you like. I also do beaded watches, so go check the page out and see what's of interest. Or if you just want to chat with me, you can just email me at TyeasiaKiah@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate you coming on the show with me tonight and telling your story. Do you have any last words?
No, I just want everybody to be encouraged and continue to follow your dreams, and whatever it is, whatever business you want to open, pray about it first and then seek some guidance from somebody already doing it.
All right, great. Again, like I said, thank you for coming on the show tonight and sharing your story. For everyone else out here listening to the program this evening, we are here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can listen through Spreaker, and you can find us at www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. Also, you can follow us through the WSBI website, which is at www.wsbillc.com. And that's the other thing I want to talk real quickly about is the website. I'm real excited about it because we're launching our new website is out, and we have a new membership program as well. So check that out. I think that for those women that are out there who are learning, who are aspiring to be a female entrepreneur, as well as already in business, this is a new opportunity for you to expand even further in your business. So it would be great if you all would check that out. Also, you can find us here at Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you, and have a good night.
I'm a winner.